When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We are live from the streets of Chicago. The NASCAR Cup Series just did battle here earlier today, but it's time for the Door Sim Racing League to do its part at this 2.2-mile street course. Dylan Coyle alongside Jeremy Briggs coming at you live on Maconi Entertainment. And this is going to be a really fun battle. 42 laps of green flag action. 3 stages. We're going to keep it caution-free. No yellows. May the fastest driver win. Get a good look at the fountain there in Grant Park. And what a beautiful day it is for 42 laps at Chicago. Jeremy, we are getting closer and closer to playoff time. Darlington Raceway will start the playoffs here in the Door Sim Racing League. It's all points. It's not winning, you're in. However, Trevor Baxter, who has become the only driver to win multiple times in this league, has won 9 times. We do not believe he is making the field tonight. The door's wide open.
And that's exactly it, Dylan. Door to door, doors wide open all season long here on Maconi Entertainment. These drivers have been putting on some fantastic racing door to door. And like you said, no cautions here tonight. There's going to be 42 laps of just mental toughness. This track is very tricky. One little mistake can end your night and potentially your playoff hopes. As you can see, those drivers right around the cutoff line, very close.
Yeah, and there will be a lot of excitement here tonight. It kind of opens up the door, right, for a driver who wants to point their way in to have a good showing at Chicago. You know, this track is unforgiving. The walls are right in tight. There are no fast repairs in this series, so if you make a mistake, and we see plenty of mistakes on the Chicago street course, you're going right into the wall or the tire barriers. And I'll tell you straight up, the tire barriers are not as forgiving in iRacing as they are in real life. I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two or done a thing or two. But this track, 12 turns, most of them are just 90-degree angles. However, there's a lot of character, a lot of elevation change you wouldn't necessarily expect at this racetrack, especially through that turns 8 through 10 section. You kind of go upwards towards this fountain. It's a very scenic racetrack, Jeremy.
Yes, and like you said, the elevation change going over the bridge, that is one of the tricky spots there, as your car can get light going over that bridge, all of a sudden your car just kind of lifts off the ground as the pavement disappears from underneath your car, and that could lead to some crazy action. We saw earlier on today one little slip up, and it was just a gridlock after one driver made just a simple mistake early on in the race, and ends a lot of drivers' hopes at getting a victory. We got a pretty stout field tonight here. I believe about 21 cars. So one little mistake, a lot of people are on the track tonight.
Yeah, we believe qualifying has just wrapped up, and if it is correct, I think we're going to see the 15 on the pole. So whenever we do get those starting lineups, here we go. Alan Duggar, that 12 machine, is on pole position, at least on the scheme. It'll say 15 on timing, alongside Michael Kurdzaluk. Excuse me, it's a newcomer to the broadcast booth here, so if I do mess up your name, please yell at us in the comments. Billy Brickley will be starting third, while Mike Lambold will be starting alongside in row number 2. Thomas Freeman, Joshua Hyatt, 5th and 6th on the grid. And this grid is pretty wide encompassing. We've got Chris Chavez Esray as well as Daniel Best, 7th and 8th. Over 20 drivers in the field tonight. Danny Carpenter and Roland Collette round out your top 10, Jeremy.
Just outside the top 10 in the 11th starting position is the number 26 of Stephen Bird. Running out the 12th spot there, the 99 of Thomas Hagland. In the 13th starting position is the number 6 of Joshua Switzer. 14th starting spot, the number 3 of Brian Burchett. 15th starting spot, the number 16 of Nate Pollard. 16th starting spot, the number 29 of James Nesta. 17th starting position, the number 54 of Terry Orr. The number 18th starting position goes to the number 00 of Michael Reeves. 19th starting spot, the number 64 of Ronald Judd. 20th spot goes to number 74 of Ryan Steinhoff. 21st starting spot goes to the 44 of Tommy Osborne. What a stacked field we got here. 21 cars.
Yeah, 21 cars are going to be screaming down to that 90-degree left-hander in turn 1 before another 90-degree right-hander leads. And look at this. This is a beautiful shot of the track. You see right in the middle of your screen, it's kind of like an intersection point between turns 1 and turns 6 in this beautiful Grant Park section of the Inner Loop in Chicago, Illinois. I really enjoy that run down into turn 4. It's a fast right-handed kink followed by a very tight 45-degree right-hander into a 90-degree run down to turn 6. Formation lap, pace lap, whatever you'd like to call it. We're going road racing here. That's what these drivers are on right now. This is a fast and in real life as well as in the iRacing simulation, because of laser scan technology, a very bumpy part of the circuit. This year they did repave a tiny bit, so it's smoothed out this section right around there a little bit more than in previous years. It's still treacherous, however.
Like we've been mentioning here all night long at the beginning of this broadcast, these turns are very tight. These drivers are going to have 42 laps, just being extremely patient all race long. I'm very excited to see it because this league's been putting on some great battles all season long here. Alan Duggar, Michael Kurdzaluk, starting out on the front row. I'm watching that 41 tonight. He's been in the picture.
Yeah, Kurdzaluk is going to have a solid shot of getting this one done. Alan Duggar, starting on that inside spot in P1. It's going to be really important to try and clear outside of turn 1, because if you're on the outside heading into turn 2, the next 3 or 4 corners are all right-handers. It's going to be difficult to keep that position. So trying to get clear out of turn 1 is going to be key for the driver in that Toyota number 15 machine. This part of the course, very tight. It goes quite uphill. And it's street, so you know how there is a little bit of an angle from the middle of roads just to let water run off to the sides. It's the same thing on this street course. It's a little bit banked in different ways as this course continues. Nonetheless, we're coming out of turn 11, going over this bridge. To get to turn 12, the pace car will peel off down pit road. 21 drivers ready to do battle. 42 laps. Stage 1 ends on lap 13. Duggar on the inside. Kurtelak on the outside. Heading into turn 1. The flag man waves green. We're underway in Chicago. What a start for Alan Duggar, way out there. He got a great jump on the leaders. So far, everyone seems to be getting through turn 1 pretty safely. The 41 of Kurtelak gets away cleanly into second, side by side though, between drivers for P6. They all start to go single file through this fast right-handed kink, this run down into turn 4.
Great execution by these 19 drivers. Get through these first few corners, get organized. They all understand the process. Once again, this is open setup, so these drivers, some of these drivers know they're going to just hang out here at the beginning of these runs. There's no yellows for our stage breaks tonight, so we're going to have 42 laps of straight green flag racing. One stop is going to be mandatory here tonight. That's one thing, these drivers are going to be very patient when they get there to that marker, as we're 3 wide here, 10th position battle.
Look at this, down into this very tight turn 7 complex before they go up the hill, turns 8, 9, and 10. You really can't go through here double file, too wide. It's difficult. All these drivers single file as they shoot down to this smaller straightaway turn 11. Right at this corner is actually where one of the spotters stands is at the I believe it's a art house. I'll have to get the exact name for this building that's right back there, but it lets you see that part of the section, the main spotter stand right at the start-finish line in real life. Oh, big hit in the background. That is Chavez Essere. That is a massive shunt to the right side, and the 6 also got a little bit loosey-goosey coming out of turn 1.
Ooh, the driver's having some difficulties here early on, finding those limits here on lap number 2. Looking at the times, Duggar 2 seconds faster than everybody in that first lap. I'll have to keep an eye on that. He's definitely going to be setting the pace here tonight as we launch this battle between Steinhoff and Best, 7th and 8th. And they got the damaged vehicle there of Chavez Essere trying to sneak into the picture. He seems to be doing okay for right now, but we'll have to keep an eye on that damage here later on throughout the run. Oh, gives him a little shot.
Right now, it's a 3-second lead for Alan Duggar. We ride on board with Essere, who's trying to recover here. Back down in P9, chasing that 8 machine of Daniel Best. Best has had a great season going for himself so far. He's got 2,000, or I should say 679 points. He leads the way of everybody in the field tonight. Of course, Trevor Baxter, big time there, and it looks like Best just leaves the door open for Essere to get by. That's kind of racing your own race, right? You know that if you don't feel comfortable enough to race and hold Essere back, then it's not the worst move to just maximize your lap time and not make it too difficult for him to get by. That Sim Magic number 5 machine of Best now trying to hold off the 16 of Nate Pollard.
Oh, little shot there from the 16. Yep.
Yeah.
One thing I will say though, that's one thing I've really enjoyed about this league, the races that I've been a part of, is just a lot of give and take. And you know, when we get loaded onto these runs, the league name Door to Door leads just it's door to door, but it's clean racing, and I'm excited to see these drivers get to the finish. Like we said, 42 long laps with that pit stop. So mental toughness is going to be the name of the game.
Jeremy, I've got a quick update for us in the booth as well as all of our viewers. A last-minute change to the regulations of this race. Stages will be capped off with a yellow flag. They will throw the caution at the end of Stage 1 and Stage 2. Stage 1 will end on lap 13. Stage 2 will end on lap 26. It should not put too much of a dent into the strategy here. However, it does open up the door a little bit more for pitting at the end of stage 1 and going the rest of the race. That should be doable.
Like you said there, we're going to have those stage cautions now. So these drivers that are out there laying down these laps, laying down these hot laps, really getting into a groove here because the brakes are finally starting to get hot. Everybody's got glowing rotors. Duggar, Kerjelak just kind of pulling away right now and about 2 seconds faster than the rest of the field. Billy Brickley hanging out by himself there in third as we got Michael Reeves coming down pit road. Not sure if this was strategy or damage. I do not see any black flags.
Officially 19 drivers right now in this race. Reeves the only one down pit road as Collette tries to continue the chase right now on Joshua Hyatt. Both of these drivers in the top 5. Way later on the brakes. That is something that I was talking with a few drivers, a few people associated with the team I work for, Colleague Racing, and you know, the biggest thing we noticed with Shane Van Gisbergen when Josh Williams in the Xfinity race was following him during practice was Shane gains all the time typically on exit. Yes, the braking is fantastic, but it's smooth. It's really, you kind of not back up the corner, but it's so smooth into the corner, and then right as you get on throttle, you're pretty much the steering wheel straight. And that gives him such an advantage over many of these drivers as there's some smoke up ahead. This blind turn 1, was there a problem right there for Billy Brickley?
Taking a look at his car right now, I don't see any too obvious damage there on that number 69 machine currently running in that third position. So no harm, no foul up here for Billy. As you're right on board here with Ronald Collette, currently in the 5th spot. Look at how bumpy this track is. It is absolutely incredible how these drivers are doing an excellent driving right now, just keeping these cars underneath them, because I've tried taking laps here and I just struggle. So these drivers are doing a great job here tonight.
Yeah, Collette lost the stability of that car coming around turn 5 ever so slightly. His car was not up against the apex. It led to a bit of a disadvantage on that run down into turn 6. He sort of recovered it here, but these are 3 drivers under a blanket. Really went in deep there on turn 8. Now through 9 and now 10, the 2 decides to be a little bit defensive. A bit of a crossover opens the door. Are we going to go too wide? Oh, a cutoff at the last second by Joshua Hyatt. It was his right to block that corner off. Oh, there's a car slow right up against the outside wall going into the final corner. Could not quite tell who that was. Way slow. Oh my goodness, into the wall again. It's Judd. Ronald Judd. I'm not exactly sure what was going on there. I wonder if there was, oh, look at that, he's right into the tire barrier.
Oh.
No brakes.
Oh my goodness.
I have no idea what we just saw from Judd.
He had some things going on there. Not sure if it was technical problems leading all the way out to that, but that is going to put him out of the race 100%.
Just a tad. No fast repairs, remember. So Ronald Judd is done for tonight. Look at that brake glow. Oh, the 29 goes for a little bit of a slide, a left rear tank slapper into that outside wall. I believe this is the run down into turn 6. No, it's down to turn 3, or going into turn 3. That was a relatively frightful kind of move. Goodness me, that could have been much worse for James Nesta.
Let's take a quick look at the replay here of Ronald Judge's issues, and it just goes straight. I know there's a couple things leading up to that, so I'm not sure if there was damage and the front end was just on the ground, but straight into the barriers, and that will do it for him tonight. It's like Steinhoff and Hyatt still battling here. Sorry about that.
No, you were all good, my friend. These 2 drivers are battling. The 2 did not go up against the outside wall. I think he just gives the position up right there. You know, I don't love seeing that. I get it, right? You want to run your race, but make it harder on the drivers to get around you.
One thing we talked about, make it difficult, but a lot of these drivers have a lot of good give and take and understand the situation of this race here tonight. And, with these open setups, these drivers maybe not feeling something they like right away, they know they can go into those pits and make an adjustment to maybe drive better here later in these runs.
Look at this, Colette goes by a slower car, tries to go side by side. This is the battle for third. Brickley stays in line on the inside. A little bit of a brake issue, I should say, right there. He locked up the tires, and they're locked up the brakes, excuse me, and wow, that is a battle that continues to rage on. Almost right into the back bumper of that machine was Colette on Brickley, and these two drivers, it's just letting more of the competition eke their way on into it.
Getting extremely tricky here in the later stages of this first stage. We're only 8 laps in, but it's so many turns. And these drivers are just battling really hard lap after lap. You can see that the 69 of Billy Brickley falling back there to the 4th position, trying to hold on here.
Race down into turn 1, side by side. Brickley potentially losing another position here. It's 2 abreast. Steinhoff on the outside going into turn 2. Is probably going to lose the position, or at least the attempt at the position right here, but Brickley squarely on exit, side by side. The 74 fights back on the outside, fast ways through this right-handed kink. You got to make the move happen here. The 74 does just that and powers his way through. Steinhoff into P4, Brickley down to 5th.
Brickley continuing to just fall backwards here as he's running up there in the podium running position. Now finds himself on the edge of the top 5. Got to try to control that bleeding and make it stop here at some point. Try to hang on to it, get those tires cooled off, get back into a better rhythm. Right now, smooth sailing right now after getting passed by just a couple cars. They're up to keep an eye on that gap behind him of Joshua Hyatt. One of those drivers we've noticed has been in the top 5 here week in and week out, just 2.3 seconds and falling farther back behind there behind Billy Brickley. So Billy Brickley with a little bit of a breathing room here.
Yeah, just a bit of breathing room here. And Alan Duggar, we'll talk about breathing room. He just stretched his legs out a second more, a second faster, actually give a second and a half faster than Kurjalek the last time by. That is a fast lap, 1:29.1. Best lap though for Alan Duggar was a 1:28 flat, so there is a little bit of fall off here as this race continues on. With this caution, it allows some drivers to decide, hey, maybe I want to go for a 2-stop race. I don't think that's going to be the popular move, but it is a stark possibility.
Look at that sweet looking number 12 machine. 12 on the side, I believe. It should be number 15, so I might be just seeing that number wrong. Nope, it's definitely 12, so he's timing scoring is number 15. The side of that car is number 12, so, but sweet looking teal number 12, 15, whatever you'd like to call it.
It's a Sunday drive.
Whatever
you want to say.
5.5 and doing great. And an upside down 5 is a 2, so just flip yourself upside down here, folks.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes you got to remember that the drivers that typically dominate in this race come from the southern hemisphere, and when you flip that 12 around, I guess you can say it becomes a 15 if you flip it on from a north to south hemisphere. It was a stretch what I just said, but it does ring true. Alan Duggar in that 12, but also 15 machine doing great. And what happens here? That's some damage on the left front to this 3 machine. I wonder if it's Brian Burchett right there chasing Danny Carpenter going through turns 8, 9, and 10 right now.
Being one of those drivers that I've seen towards the front half of the field, so seems to be maybe struggling just a little bit here tonight at the streets of Chicago, getting pressure there from that number 3 of Brian Burchett. This is for 15th and 16th out of the 19 drivers. One driver DNF right now, that's Ronald Judd. We got Thomas Hegland 2 laps down, Michael Reeves 5 laps down, but they are still on the track as we speak. So they've probably had a few incidents here, just trying to survive. Oh, we got a car in the wall just in front of these guys. Is that the number 6 of Switzer having trouble?
I do believe, yes. Joshua Switzer camouflaged from our cameras for just a few moments in that camo machine. Had another little brush up against the outside wall right there. Continues falling positions. Now down into 16th. Let's take a look at what happened on the Maconi Entertainment replay system. He's going into one, hard on the brakes. He definitely overcooked it. He definitely loaded up a little bit too much, and that happens a lot. If you try and turn in when you just go past the levels of grip that your tires are willing to have, then, well, you're just going to go for a little bit of a lazy spin, and he's lucky it didn't turn out to be a little bit worse than what it could have potentially been.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. He got very fortunate. That was just a little tank slap. Maybe some right rear damage to the body, but nothing suspension-wise. So Switzer just trying to survive at the end of this stage. Outside of stage points, but you know, maybe we can do something on the stage break to get an adjustment to have some more speed.
Yeah, as a reminder, at the end of lap 13, or once they get to lap 13, it will be there will be a caution, as this is a battle right now for third place once again. Steinhoff, he is went up to battle with Roland Collette, and they're going too wide here through the fountain section. This is not gonna be easy to make a move. The 74 though powers by. Here's a response from the 9. Collette down the inside of the penultimate corner, doesn't have the drive off, gets squirrely on the rears, and that is P3 for Ryan Steinhoff. What an awesome bit of battling we just saw there.
Great door-to-door action once again, never fails. As we're winding down on these last couple laps here of stage number 1, Ryan Steinhoff finds himself in the podium position. Oh! And Ronald Collette finds the wall very heavy there out of turn 1, and hopefully the damage isn't too bad, but I would expect some big damage to that right front.
Yeah, that's got to be a little bit of extra damage right there to Collette. The good thing is the stage end is almost here, and when it does arrive, they'll be able to go down pit road, get some repairs made to that number 9 machine. No fast repairs, but it is something that is a bit of a happy thought for the moment now. Alan Duggar, though, continues to just make waves, about to pass who I believe is Josh Switzer, yes, in that camo machine. Already lapping drivers as we go towards lap 13.
As we saw Switzer having a few issues. Just trying, like I said, get to the end of this stage. A lap down now. The traditional way, unfortunately. Oh no! Is that the 28 of Carpenter having a big issue there, but that was just on exit turn 1.
Right in front of the leader of this race. That would be a remarkable moment if there was some contact. Let's take a look at the replay again, see what happened. Just got a little bit too early on the throttle right there. Okay. No contact, no kiss of the wall, keeps it going, gets lapped. Here's going to be an important battle, though. The free pass, right? You're going to want to get back up onto that lead lap. Right now, I believe it's just Switzer and Carpenter, and they're separated by only 4/10. So when this caution does come out, only one of those drivers is going to get onto the lead lap. Not sure exactly when the caution will come out, but Carpenter is chasing with all his might onto Switzer. I mean, he just kind of threw away a chance to compete. Oh, there's a big hit. Is this a replay or a big hit that's happening live? Replay for sure. That was a jump scare and a half right there. Let's take a look exactly at what happened.
Brickley
We're following with Billy Brickley right here. and he has just fallen and fallen and fallen from a great starting position just straight onto the wall.
Yikes. That's going to be heavy damage to that left front. Oh yeah, that wheel is not even turning as it's supposed to. So
that's race over there. Unfortunate, but that is race over.
A lot of good drivers having big trouble here at the end of this stage.
Yeah, that's goodness me. That is problematic to say the least. We have already moved on to lap 14. I think we'll wait to the end of 10 drivers making it past, but by that point, we might already see Alan Duggar having almost completed lap 14. So it's almost about to be time as Burchett's, you see that left front? It is way off center, trying desperately to stay on this lead lap as it winds closer and closer to the yellow flag. And going around this fountain section right here, we should get it any moment now.
Looks like, yes, there it is. I believe I just saw 9th and 10th go across the line. James Nesta just rounding that out, over a minute behind.
No kidding. Duggar was almost about to cross the line to get to lap 15. That would have been remarkable if he did that. But nonetheless, Duggar wins stage 1. Kurgelek, he started to make some inroads late, but he will finish it in second. Steinhoff finishes in third. Khaled Hayat Esseri, after his early mistakes, finishes it in sixth. Freeman, Best, Bird, and Nesta, your top 10. And from what I could tell, Danny Carpenter was the driver that got back onto the lead lap. Now, courtesy of that free pass, Switzer is in a world of trouble. More mistakes, more issues for him. Right now, I'm seeing 12 drivers on the lead lap. Soon to be, most likely, 13 drivers if Carpenter does indeed get the free pass. Other than that, everybody else it's been a race of attrition very quickly here. Many drivers already out of this race. Brickley, as we had just seen, we believe Switzer is out. Pollard, Hegland, Reeves, and Judd all out of this race in stage 1.
Yeah, Reeves has been on pit road for 6 minutes, along with Thomas Hegland. He's been on pit road for 7 minutes. So these drivers on pit road know that they've had some issues, but they got to try to get it fixed and get back out on the track and see what position they can get. I see a couple drivers in front of them have DNF, so every position will matter as the end of the season is unfortunately closing in a lot sooner than some of us would like. The regular season, excuse me, and these drivers are going to be getting a lot of repairs done and try to come right back out when they can. Maybe capitalize on other drivers' misfortune, but one thing I do know, these drivers are happy to have this yellow, get some adjustments they can get to maybe try to be a little bit more competitive to Alan Duggar, who just seems to be just in his own area code. So I think this is Duggar's race to lose with any type of mistake. I think he'll be just fine. He definitely showed that run. He was very dominant.
Well, it does bring up a question mark here. Who's going to go down pit road if it is indeed open this time by? Because I believe you will make the rest of the race. You will make it to the checkered if you pit right here, right now. Duggar goes down pit road. Kurgelek goes down pit road. It looks like most everyone will follow. And everyone does follow. And I don't think this is because they know they can make it to the end. They know that there was fall off, right? A lot of fall off did appear to be present as this race continued. Alan Duggar's fastest lap, he fell to, I think, close to 2 seconds by the time things were all said and done off of that pace right there. So this is a big caution and a big pit stop here. If Kurgelek could beat him out, that would be important. That's not going to happen. Still, Alan Duggar in the lead of this race. I mean, this is probably the one thing that Duggar does not appreciate about this race, that there are going to be cautions at these stage breaks. Because of that, it always opens up the door again for some crazy things to happen on the restarts.
And some drivers maybe getting desperate, trying to get the positions that they can get when they see them on these restarts, as these drivers are going to be getting lined back up. Desperate moves, desperate situations. See if any drivers later on in this race maybe try to flip any type of strategies, but like we said, this should be the one and only time they need to pit here tonight.
Only one time is what we're thinking. However, yeah, that's all they need to get to the end. So one thing we should say for certain is that it doesn't come down, it wasn't a mandatory stop in terms of you have to make a pit stop. It's, if you don't make a pit stop, you're not going to have the fuel to make it to the end of this race. That's what it is. And now these drivers do have the fuel, we think, to make it to the end of this race, especially with the caution period still. Nonetheless, however, they need to worry about the tires. This is going to be the quickest stint from green flag to yellow flag in this race once we do get going back to racing. The end of stage 2 is lap 26, so this is going to be a sprint compared to the final stage and the first stage. First stage was probably a good showing for what the distance of the final stage will be. This will be a quicker run, which may lead to more chaos because of it.
We did see some great door-to-door action there through the turns here when drivers were coming and going. So we'll have to see who maybe makes an adjustment to make their cars last just a little bit longer, as it looks like Michael Reeves is in front of the leaders here, so he should be getting the wave around. I believe the pace car lights should turn off this time.
We shall see. Yes, they do. So we'll go back to racing on lap 18, which gives us time for, give or take 8-9 laps of racing, depending on how quickly Alan Duggar stretches out his lead. What we're currently seeing is just 12 drivers on the lead lap. It might not appear that Danny Carpenter got back on the lead lap in this one, whether or not that was because there is no free pass enabled for this session, or he just did not get the free pass. I'm not sure. Nonetheless, it's a long 2+ miles to get back to this green flag we'll have in just a little bit of time.
Yep, not exactly sure myself there on that free pass, because I did see Michael Reeves in front of leaders, so I thought he got the free pass, but they just pushed him to the back. So like you said, they're not sure what was going on there, but maybe just some different rules going on here tonight. But we got Duggar, Kerjelak, your front row, Steinhoff, and Freeman, row number 2, Best and Hyatt, row number 3. Keep an eye on these drivers even farther back, diving into turn 1.
Get a look there at some of the positions gained throughout this race, and I don't think it's any surprise that Steinhoff is up there as the fastest moving driver through the field. But Tommy Osborne, got to give a bit of a hand to him, because Osborne has been through it. Pretty sure he started P-laxed in this race, and he survives the chaos in the back. Will restart here in 8th place, it looks like. So when that does happen, we'll have to see what kind of speed he has to compete with the drivers in the top 10 right now. 12 drivers on the lead lap, so we will go almost a full lap after that turn 26 goes to turn 27 here, just because that's kind of the pace we've seen from Alan Duggar. But this will be a fairly quick second stage. I believe it's just going to be 9 laps of racing. And when we do get that caution, it'll set up a run to lap 42, which will be the final lap of this race. But there are stage points to be won here, and more drivers to compete for, if not the win, then the top 5 in this race. Pace car has gone down pit road. We'll see the jump here, and Alan Duggar once again just rolls on, and Steinhoff follows him. Looks on the inside. Oh, a big hit into the inside wall. We're going to have chaos and bowling balls. Yes, a little bit of that, and everyone from fourth on back has to scatter to avoid getting into the mayhem.
Hyatt got hopping going into turn one. Car just turned to the left, destroyed that left front. His night is done.
Goodness me, that was absolute bedlam, but the top three have broken away from the rest of the field, and it doesn't look like Duggar is getting away as cleanly as he did last time. However, you've got to give him some credit. That restart was blinding, and he timed it perfectly because Kerjelek was not paying attention to that jump and to that lean back. Steinhoff a little bit jumpy over the bumps there on the exit of 6. Duggar smooth as can be. Really, all three of these drivers are smooth as we move through the back half of this circuit.
We had seen Steinhoff get a really good entry into turn one, really loose here through these turns now, but you can see Duggar. Oh, a little scrape to the wall there for Duggar. Trying to cut as close to the wall as he could right there on that right-hander. When you're turning on the opposite side, that's one thing that I personally struggle with, is the depth perception of that right side when turning to the right, because it just is a very unnatural feeling to some of us.
Yeah, just a tad unnatural. That's why some drivers who are used to racing in other disciplines, they find the transition so much easier. Just because the drivers in stock cars are typically used to racing on ovals, so you don't see the level of dominance that you see usually anymore. You saw a lot of drivers who were good on road courses, say in NASCAR competition, and always had a chance as there's another driver into the wall on the exit at 2. It's proving to be a problem area in this race here today. Couldn't quite see who that was falling back, but the bumps, the curbs, everything is kind of, not curbs I should say, but the curves around turns 3, 4, and 5 are really catching more drivers out.
Walls are starting to kind of jump out a little bit on him as these drivers know this is a shorter stage, trying to collect more points that they can. As you can see, Daniel Best here in the number 5 finds himself in 5th place, doing a good job marching through the field here. See if he can sustain good points here towards the end of the stage. Brian Burchett, one of those drivers we saw with left front damage, finds himself just behind him there in 6th.
Right now it's Duggar's world. Everybody else is just living in it. And Steinhoff has broken free to around a 2.5 seconds up on Kerjelek. We're watching on board with Daniel Best, currently P5, chasing Thomas Freeman for 4th place. Because of everyone having to scatter out of that turn 1 adventure that we saw just a bit earlier. Freeman, by the way, went well wide on the exit of 1, opens the door, keeps it open. He never even shut it on Daniel Best, almost invited him to take a peek down the inside, and that actually helped out Freeman with a great run out of turn 2. And he puts a ton of separation between he and Daniel Best going into this kink and this short shoot, difficult section downhill.
You say difficult section downhill, I say difficult section everywhere, in my personal opinion with this track. These drivers are doing a great job. Oh, as I do a great job of commentators.
Keep it stable, don't turn it, almost gets hit. Best somehow survives that with no damage, but does lose a spot, might lose a second. Still side by side until they get to the apex of the corner. The 3 of Burchett just said, it's okay, take the position back, Daniel. But Best is definitely struggling. He's been on the cusp of the top 5 all day, but you can tell this is not his bread and butter compared to the top runners in this race today.
Struggling with these sections. Definitely turn 1 is hard on braking. Gotta make sure you keep that rear end underneath you on those downshifts. Not downshifted too quick, not have too much rear brake in it, or it'll start hopping. That's all show right. You just cannot catch it. And it can sometimes lead to a very big impact. That's all. We got a car turned around right there. That is Ronald Collette. Turn around to number 9.
That's a
just on the exit
shame.
turn 1.
Roland Collette had such a solid day going, and that's just unfortunate for that number 9 machine. We'll see how much damage as these laps continue to progress. We're only around 5 laps away from the caution coming out to end stage 2. Squirrely on the exit of 5. A bit of a block down into 6. Will they do a switchback? No. Easy on the brakes. Still single file. What a difficult circuit indeed, but uphill they go. They roll downhill. One thing drivers need to be very wary about is the idea of physics. If you go downhill into a braking section, you're going to have to apply the brakes a little bit earlier and a little bit heavier to get the car slowed down. If you're going uphill into a braking section, you can afford to go a few yards further without having to go on the brakes. This is actually, that turn 11 braking point is actually uphill ever so slightly. It does help the drivers to brake in a little bit later as they roll Burchett as well as Essere down into this corner, or I should say Best and Burchett. They roll into the start-finish line into 1. And once again, we can talk about the times and everything else. Alan Duggar put in a 1:28 flat. That's his fast time. Right now, his last lap was a 1:28.9. It was only 100 faster than Ryan Steinhoff. So they've stabilized. I do feel like Steinhoff has a chance to win this race too if things go his way on the stage 3 restart.
Honestly, and another thing, open setups, Steinhoff, like you said, getting really close to being competitive with Duggar later in this run. Maybe Steinhoff has to figure out how to fire off a little bit quicker and still have that longevity towards the end of the run. Is all Daniel Best, I believe, there with more trouble.
Man, Daniel Best, you got to give him credit, though. He is still fighting in this race. That's Brian Burchett now in front of Best as they go through the fountain section. Way off the wall. This is going to hurt his exit speed going into this short chute right here, but it's no matter. He's about 10 car lengths in front and 10 car lengths back, kind of in this sandwich right here. I believe that's Thomas Freeman just up front. It certainly is. That's a battle for 4th about to start brewing. Just gained 2/10 through the last 2 corners there.
Burchett right now 13th in points. 33rd in points. Long distance reading, sometimes not good for us. As a lot of threes going on there. So Burchett, one of those drivers, looking to have a decent run tonight. One of the drivers that we normally talk about towards the front of the field as well, running in the 9th position right now is the 26 of Stephen Bird, having himself a, I guess you could say, somewhat quiet night right now, running just on the edge of the top 10 there. That white number 26, excuse me.
It is funny, we talk about having a relatively quiet night in 9th place, but it is just because of all the attrition that has happened in this race to make 9th place feel like it's at the back of the field. I believe Josh Hyatt, by the way, is now down pit road. Yeah, 5 laps down. So just 12 drivers that, oh my goodness, the 4 is around. And Essere, that is a big problem. Did I just see Steinhoff and Kerjelak go down pit road? Yes, I did. This opens the door up to get a good restart because the pits, are they not closed? This is interesting here. Well, if they're not closed right now, I mean, they're not going to be closed next lap. That's the biggest thing. Alan Duggar, is he going to be trapped on the outside of pitting under green? He does not flip the stage, so will he have either worn tires to begin the next stage, or will he have to come into the pits and give up all the track position? There's a lot of questions that we will have answered in the next minute if Duggar cannot go down pit road in the next minute, then we know that his decision is either worn tires or loss of track position. What a call from Steinhoff as well as Kerjelek. This race is just broken open a little bit.
I will mention Alan Duggar, 8 laps on these tires, just ran the best lap of his race. So he's got that figured out. 8 laps into the run, so.
He heard us talking.
Potentially, we'll see what this lap looks like. He might have a good run on that car.
He very well might, but it was 6+ tenths, 7 tenths almost slower. As look at that, some traffic. It hurts his exit of turn 1. Oh man, that was Switzer who's back out on track, gaining some more points in this race. So we're on lap 25 right now. Lots of question marks, a lot of things. I mean, this race has changed ever so slightly.
It really has, especially with these stage breaks and a couple drivers being able to sneak in there and flip the stage, try to get in front of Alan Duggar. We've seen him be pretty dominant all night long. So we saw Steinhoff, though, really starting to maneuver and run the same lap times. They're a few laps into that run, so maybe Steinhoff gets a good adjustment here, being out front of that number 15 of Alan Duggar.
So, Alan Duggar, is he going to be one of the lone drivers that tries to make it to lap 42 with one stop? And there's the other question too. Burchett and Freeman, as well as Collette, who has had issues, they have not pit yet in stage 2 either. They are second, third, and fourth as we cross to lap 26 now, with Alan Duggar still leading the way. And get this, because of second and third pitting, we're going to have to wait 28 seconds for the next driver to cross the line, and that is quite remarkable. I believe the gap is around 1 minute and 5 seconds, so it's going to take a little bit before we do get the end of stage 2. But all of it comes down to what will Duggar's decision be, because indecision is still a decision.
And lots of decisions to be made there for sure. As that time, he went from a 128.7 to a 128.8. So not losing too much time. Well, you know, fresh tires, they might have a small advantage. We'll have to see. It's only about an 8-lap difference.
Only an 8-lap difference for sure, and because we do know Duggar can still pull out a fantastic lap time, that does play a massive thing, and I don't think that everybody else is thinking about it. But psychologically, if you do know what the timing says, you do know that his fast lap just came while on, I don't want to say used tires, but lightly used tires, I think is a better way to say it. What does that play into the decision to come down to pit? You've given yourself a chance. You've given yourself a better chance than on equal tires. I will say that for sure as we cross the line to go to lap 27. So give it another minute or so as another fast lap. The first one in 127. The first lap in the 87-second range in this race tonight. It was all in the 88-second range, and then Alan Duggar, I think he heard us talking up here. I really do. Here's my question, though.
He must be watching for sure.
Yeah, he must be watching. But here's my question: if there is any sort of oh boy,
in the wall there.
Yeah, right in front of Duggar right there. That was problematic. Yes, it's Danny Carpenter right there. Is this race over? Front end radiator gone, gets the tow. So in 11th place, Danny Carpenter looks to be out of this one. Here's a replay, Jeremy.
There's a gorgeous street course trees are in our way there from that abrupt view. So let's take a look from on board up roof as we go through the sweeping turn. Really close to left side. Just does not get slowed down right into the tire barriers.
Engine expires. Yep. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Right at the last lap of the stage, too.
Unfortunate indeed, as we still see this battle rolling on. It's Steinhoff trying to get by Collette, but the caution has come out before he is able to do it. And it's the end of Stage 2, Alan Duggar wins 34 seconds in front of Brian Burchett, who was in second place. But I'll tell you what, Steinhoff certainly was starting to reel in a podium position at the end of Stage 2 while pitting. So I don't think, I don't think that it's necessary. I think we've been proven by Alan Duggar that the tires are not really wearing all that much. Now, even if they aren't, him pushing it as much as he did at the end of Stage 2, could that come into play? There was really no need to stretch his legs right there. I mean, he was up 34 seconds. I kind of wonder if that was the right decision. Just roll it back. It doesn't matter how fast you are. If you're in first, as long as you keep it in first, you can be as slow as possible while still being in first place. So if he doesn't come down to pit, then that could hurt at the end of this race.
Right now, the 4th and 5th positioned vehicles only have 4 laps on their tires. Everybody else is 10 plus laps. Everybody averaging around 12. On this stint, Duggar was putting down hot laps on his 11th lap of these sets of tires. So we'll come around to see pit road and see what happens.
Yeah, this will be a real telltale sign right here if we do see Duggar go down pit road. I mean, those tires were not really that worn. I'd be interested to see how much the percentage of wear was on the Steinhoff and Kerjelek machines' older tires. But, I mean, even if they wanted to make adjustments, that's something else they could have done going down pit road. But I don't know. It's an interesting decision for them to come down to the pits, as we will see in just a few seconds' time whether Duggar goes back down pit road. I'm going to say no, but I've been wrong before. I've been wrong here. Duggar goes down pit road, and oh my goodness, a lot of drivers making very last-second decisions. Duggar is going to be behind Steinhoff as well as Kerjelek here, and Daniel Best, and SRA. No, not SRA, but Daniel Best for sure. Is Tommy Osborne coming down pit road? We'll have to find out in just a few seconds once he comes out of the corner. So, at best, it's going to be 4th place in line. And Alan Duggar has not been used to restarting anywhere except first place in this race. It certainly sets up a fun little battle.
You know, Dylan, we've been having such a great time. Why don't we go for a quick side-by-side commercial break?
You know what? That sounds like a great idea. Caution is out. We'll just get back to going racing here in a few laps' time. Door to door, sim racing. You're watching it on Maconi Entertainment.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back to Maconi Entertainment. You guys are watching some door-to-door sim racing league action from the streets of Chicago, Illinois. We're on lap 30 under caution. We're going to get back to green flag racing with just 13 laps to go here. Of course, this race, this coverage is brought to you by Kinetic Gaming. You can visit their website at kineticgaming.org, the primary partner of door-to-door in iRacing. So these drivers, we've seen a lot of attrition come into play tonight, Jeremy, and only one driver has really stood the test of, being able to be faster than everybody. Now, he has started from P1 every single time. He had pole position. He had the restart from first place in stage 2. It's the first time that he is not going to be restarting on the front row. Alan Duggar starting in 4th for stage 3, and he does have 2 really, really fast road course drivers in front of him in Steinhoff and Kerjelek. I think this is going to be a little bit of a different story than we've been used to so far tonight.
This is going to be a new ball game here for Alan Duggar. First time having pretty much any type of dirty air on his nose. New faces and new places, these 2 drivers on the front row. We've seen Kerjelek, second row, first row all night long, but Steinhoff, now the control car for the first time here tonight. We'll see how he handles that after pitting just before that stage break. He has 6 laps on his tires over the Duggar machine with just getting those pits. Daniel Best stayed out, 14 laps on his tires in 3rd.
I don't hate the call from Best, but I do know he has struggled at points in this race. How will that come into play? We'll find out. I mean, this race is about to reach a crescendo here at Chicago. The clouds overlook the track. The temperature, I'm sure, is dropping because of it, and a track that is not as slick will not take as much rubber from these tires. It won't wear it down as much if it's not all that hot, but it does kind of help drivers who have stayed out for a longer period of time if that cloud continues to block out the sun here. Over the bridge, lap number 31. There is just 12 laps to go when we get back to green flag racing here. Steinhoff has gained the most positions in this race. Will he keep it? Green flag back out into the air, and already Duggar flies by Daniel Best in a P3. Steinhoff, Kerjelek, Alan Duggar, your top 3 as we roar to turn 2.
Big moment here for the Steinhoff machine is, we got one getting a little loose here. This the number 4 machine of Chris Chavez or SRA having a small moment on the exit there. As Duggar, though, not letting Steinhoff and Kerjelek get away.
Yeah, not at all. This is exactly what we assumed would happen. It's how much will the defense come into play. Look at that. Kerjelek blocks out the bottom. Crossover, taking a peek. Half a car width difference down the inside. Sets up a move, though. The potential for a crossover, a swap back into this downhill turn. Turn number 7. Not close enough, though, for Duggar to get by Kerjelek. Kerjelek is struggling big time. Another bit of squirreliness coming out of turn 7. I mean, he is on the defense big time. Steinhoff is looking and saying, please keep fighting as much as you can. It gives him the best opportunity to win this race.
Steinhoff, like you said, just
What's happening here?
praying as long as he can, but yep, here comes the pass. Duggar the inside of Kerjelek, side by side here, onto the front stretch to the start-finish line. We're just 11 laps away from the end of this race.
What a fight back right there, but I'm surprised that, just look at how much deeper in the braking zone the 12 of Duggar was able to go compared to Kerjelek. I'm not sure. Oh, look at that. Duggar maybe made his first mistake of the race. He went way wide on exit, still holds the position, but loses more ground to Steinhoff, who's 2 seconds in front almost on Alan Duggar. The question is, big hit into the wall. Trying to cut turn 4 was Kerjelek. He hit that right side and then went into the outside wall. That has damaged the race car. More smoke in the background. How much will that affect the driver in third?
Duggar hit the wall as well. I believe Kerjelek followed Duggar right into the wall. We'll have to get that replay. This could be big for Steinhoff. Duggar, like I said, would be his race to lose.
Look at how close that Duggar just takes every entry to the corner at the nearest point. Look at that. There's nothing in between the side of that race car and the wall. It's quite amazing to watch. However, can't lie, Steinhoff is holding pretty strong in this first lap that we're really seeing almost completely just clean track for both of these drivers. Steinhoff up 1.9 seconds, had a better run out of the last corner. Is that, that's Kerjelek down pit road. Way too much damage right there. Steinhoff is still in first place. He is not down pit road. That is Kerjelek. And my goodness, that is a disappointing way for this race to have gone.
Running in a podium position and unfortunately gets into that wall. As with James Nesta, he's been on pit road for the last looks like it's 14-ish minutes. So he's been getting some repairs done. He is currently 8 laps down. 8 laps down, running in 11th though. Can't complain about that.
This is a straight dogfight right now between Steinhoff and Alan Duggar. And Duggar is not making as much inroads as we may have thought he'd be able to make. I'll say that for sure. However, he has cut down the lead a couple tenths this past half a lap. We'll see how much it continues to come down because we're getting to the point where there's now going to be 9 laps to go in this race, and anything can really happen.
Anything can happen, as we saw earlier on with their Kerjelek getting into the wall, pretty much ending his night for a chance at getting a W. But Duggar just hanging out there now, down to 1 second. 28.36 for our leader, 27.64. Fastest lap of the race for Duggar. He's turned on those afterburners.
That was an unbelievable lap right there. 7 tenths quicker than the leader of this race. Duggar, all that time gained in the final sector. It's kind of what we're talking about, right? Or I should say in that final lap, it's the first time that he's had clean track in front of him for the entirety of that lap. Right up against the wall. I mean, Steinhoff, he does well in this first sector, in this middle sector, to kind of keep himself in front. Everything is gained, though, through the fountain section.
Got to be extremely precise, extremely smooth. Duggar does such a good job with these corners, getting really good entries. And does so much to drive off. Oh, almost cooked it a little bit right there, but right here, just mowing down time.
Yeah, he is right there. I mean, he's now just 5 car lengths back of Steinhoff, but definitely not the penultimate corner exit that he would have looked to have had. This race now down to 8 laps to go. Steinhoff way wide on exit, pushed tight right there. He's got a couple laps older tires. At this point, it's just a straight mano-a-mano battle. These two are far and away the class of the field, and you got to give credit to Steinhoff for staying now in front. Another fastest lap of the race for Alan Duggar. Steinhoff doing a great job of not falling under the pressure right now.
And Steinhoff just ran his best lap of his race, so Steinhoff just starting to get it figured out. Still just a little bit slower than Duggar, but once Duggar gets there, he's got to get around him, and as long as Steinhoff continues to be smooth, He may be able to hold him off, but like we said, Duggar has been very dominant here all night long.
Great point you bring up right there, Jeremy.
Oh,
Steinhoff, right when we were talking about the pressure and crumbling under it, he throws it away, but he's still in this race. If he can get to the back bumper in this fountain section, I mean, it's not completely over, but you have the feeling that that was the opportunity to win it gone.
Commentator's curse strikes again. I feel so bad for these drivers. Doing a great job, just gotta be smooth. Slight mishap right there is 10th place running Tommy Osborne, 44, now out of the race.
Oh, and yeah, what happened? I think something happened just a little bit before the Kerjelek incident happens, and now we've only got 8 drivers on the lead lap in this race. We started with 19, remember. There are drivers that are still toiling around, multiple laps down. Hey, listen, you got to give Steinhoff credit. He's still within a second, but for how much longer, I don't expect it to last after this lap. But, nah, man, he'd really like cautions to be enabled right now.
The big old full course caution is what he would like to be prescribed, and man, big moment there out of that turn there for Steinhoff. Every little slip up adds up to losing time, and Steinhoff drives it in so deep, just closes that gap. Wow,
he really
great
did there. Yeah, no, that was a great close up. Just gained 3/10 in that one corner, and he just cut down some more time. It's not over.
Wow.
Hey, listen, as good as Duggar has been, he is not superhuman, right? He still can make a small mistake here or there. It's just Steinhoff has made one more mistake that was costlier than Duggar. Steinhoff is not letting him get away. It was rising to 8/10, just cut down a couple tenths. How were the lap times last time by for those two drivers? 2/10 quicker for Steinhoff. It's not over.
Steinhoff really found something that last lap on entry. Not sure if he made a brake bias adjustment or what, but Steinhoff really doing a good job on that braking.
Look at Collette. Fastest lap of the race for Collette right there.
Wow, look at that.
In P3, just made an 87.3 lap time. That is impressive. Collette, kind of a lonely end to this race, it looks like, for the driver of the 9 machine. That was ridiculously fast. It was 3/10 almost faster than the previous fast lap of this race.
Yeah, Roland Collette spun out earlier on and doing a good job here, grabbing a fast lap. Oh, as Duggar got a little loose there, but still starting to pull away there now from Steinhoff. And Collette looks like figured it out just a little too late.
Wow. Sometimes, you know, practice, 40 or so laps of practice is what you need. It's just 40 or so laps of racing is all you get. So if you're using the race as your practice, by the time you really come into your own, then it's kind of too late. Let's take a look at the replay here. Is this what happened with, is this Daniel Best? Is this going to be exiting the pits right here? No, just Best. Oh, boy.
Too much gas.
More losing it from Daniel Best. Somehow, some way, though. Oh, boy. Crossover. Could have been dangerous. Somehow, some way, Daniel Best still is in play for a top 5 here. Only under second between he and Esserade, last week's race winner at Atlanta.
This is actually really interesting here for a street course. These drivers have been putting on a pretty decent show, and drivers trying different strategies, and the racing has been extremely clean.
Yeah, you definitely have to give him credit, even though the field is limited. It has been a pretty solid show. We've seen drivers really turning it on late. Steinhoff, though, I'll tell you this, impressive showing. If you didn't make that mistake, I'd like to see him put in have a little bit more defense against Alan Duggar. If we could see a little bit more of him making that car as wide as possible. He's now over a second and a half back now.
Some lap traffic further up here. I believe that's going to be the number 6 of Josh Switzer, currently just trying to limp it around. One lap away from getting around Danny Carpenter in their running order, so that'll put Switzer up to the 12th or 13th spot.
Yeah, that's good for Switzer. He still has the potential to go into 13th by the time this race is over. Danny Carpenter only a lap ahead right there. So another opportunity to make up more positions. That's really all you need to get to do, really, as this race and this series is based on points. This is a dangerous moment for Alan Duggar, who has to get by 2 lapped traffic, and he does that quite easily. They just moved over. It's going to hurt Steinhoff, I think, more than it hurts Duggar, as he catches them right in the corner, doesn't get a smooth exit, almost lost it again, and that's unfortunate there. Did quite well, though. I'll say that.
Continuing though, Duggar not holding back, trying to get these laps down, but Steinhoff, that's like you said, last lap here, 0.2 faster. They just keep flip-flopping. I got to give Roland Collette big props here late in the game, gained 2 seconds these last couple laps.
That's very impressive. I don't think it's going to be anything except just really impressive for how this race has gone for Collette, and definitely deserves the flowers that he's getting right now, because fastest lap of the race, it was the fastest until Duggar took it back away, but that was no joke. An unbelievably quick time for Collette, who should end up on the podium, and we should be talking to him by the time things are all said and done. But Alan Duggar continues to make his way around this racetrack. 2.5 laps to go, and Steinhoff is definitely keeping him company. Only a second and a few tenths back at the moment, as we reach turn 6 for the third to last time in this race. It does appear to be clear sailing in front. The next car that will be met up by Alan Duggar is James Nesta, who's 8 laps down. And after that, there's a bit more of a separation. Most of the traffic, if any of the traffic at all, is still left to come. It was just met and dealt with.
Real quick, back to James Nesta. Looks like he will crack himself into the top 10 here these last couple laps by going back out there after those repairs.
That's an important few points that he will for sure get for himself there. If you can get laps or get positions by just running laps in a heavily point-based league, it means a lot, right? You gotta try and do your part, do what you can to get a day from pretty much raise it from the dead, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Josh Switzer actually just passed Danny Carpenter to move into 13th, so that's the most that he can do by the end of this race. Might as well just park it, I guess, if you want to now. He'll keep on rolling. Alan Duggar does the same, 2.5 faster, or in front of, I should say, Ryan Steinhoff. Great job from Steinhoff. You just think if he doesn't make that mistake, is he potentially still in the lead of this race?
Exactly that. You know, he's fallen behind, but he's staying in with this 1.5 second range. He's doing a really decent job. We were watching the race earlier on, and we're like, oh yeah, Duggar's got this in the bag, but Steinhoff made it a story tonight. Oh, Steinhoff definitely makes it a story and almost wrecks it.
Well, I'll tell you this for sure. If he makes any more mistakes, but in a bigger way...
I'm talking to him.
Then, well, yes, as you're talking about him, if he makes any more big mistakes, Collette might clean up P2, still 6 seconds behind, so it would have to be something immeasurable. Final lap of the race has commenced. Alan Duggar, what a job from him. This is a good battle right here for 8th place. it's a battle, I should say, 7th place. Thomas Freeman, who was up front a little bit earlier fighting with Stephen Bird. They still have a lap and a half of action to go in this one. We're going to be waiting another minute and a half by the time this race gets the checkered for the rest of the cars to cross the line for official results. But Bird still has an opportunity here to get another position in this race. So Alan Duggar, as he gets closer and closer to the finish of this race, has really dominated here tonight. Did not lead every single lap, but pretty much did as close as you can get to perfection, and definitely earned this victory. He dominated it when he was challenged late. He was up to the task. He comes over this bridge heading into turn 12 one last time, heavy on the brakes. And is it anyone but the number 12 or 15 machine? No, it is not. Alan Duggar gets the checkered flag and wins it here at the Chicago Street Course. A wonderful job from him, as we now see these two drivers continuing to do battle. Steinhoff finishes in 2nd. Collette finishes in 3rd. Burchett, 30 seconds on back, still has to finish this race. But Alan Duggar, Ryan Steinhoff, what a battle they provided to us.
It was definitely a battle that Steinhoff did a good job of making adjustments, I believe, to find himself really closer at the end. So we'll find out there. As you see Bird side by side here. It looks like he's going to clear him for that spot.
Yeah, and this is the final lap for these two drivers as well. Great job from Stephen Bird for never letting up and getting that position. Still has 2 more quarters to negotiate, make that one. Bird looks like he'll take home 7th place with Thomas Freeman in 8th. Still a couple drivers on track that are finishing up their laps. I think, though, those two were the final to take the checkered. Alan Duggar, what a race win for him.
Did not look back tonight. And then once he got into that little predicament, he found a way to battle back through. We're excited to talk to him and just get his thoughts on, if his car was changing throughout this race, because we could definitely see Steinhoff trying to make a run.
It's funny. There's such a long crawl back to when the burnouts really start at the start-finish line, and you still make that 2.2-mile run through the streets of Chicago. And if this is the Xfinity race, they actually had to go to a victory lane that was outside where they normally have a victory lane. It was in front of the Chicago street race sign, in front of the fountain, or one of the fountains in Grant Park. But for the Cup race, it all happened right here. Alan Duggar burns it down on the streets of Chicago over the checkered line, the checkered stripe. He definitely earned this win. Well, we're going to take a quick break here before getting some of the drivers who finished on the podium into the booth for a quick interview. But an unbelievable job by Duggar, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back at the virtual Chicago street course, and we'll go over the race results in the Door Sim Racing League. After 42 laps, Alan Duggar wins by 5 seconds over Ryan Steinhoff. Roland Collette finishes third on the podium. We'll try and talk to all 3 of them in just a few moments. Brian Burchett, Chris Chavez, SRA gets 4th and 5th. Daniel Best, Stephen Bird, Thomas Freeman, they finish on the lead lap. They are up to 8th, and then it really goes from good to worse, I should say. No bad, really, in it. Kurgelek, 4 laps down. Finishes in the top 10, though. How about James Nesta? 9 laps down in the top 10. Tommy Osborne, Thomas Hegland, Josh Switzer, Danny Carpenter, Josh Hyatt, Billy Brickley, fast early on, had mistakes that cost him a lot. Nate Pollard, Michael Reeves, Ronald Judd, all of those drivers finishing quite a ways back, laps down in this race. But it's time to talk to some of our race victors or podium finishers, and I don't think we've got Duggar in here, so I'm going to just throw it over to you, Jeremy, to talk to Ryan Steinhoff first in P2.
Yes, we have grabbed Ryan Steinhoff to join us up here in the broadcast booth after having a great night, finding himself finishing there in the 2nd position. Man, it looked like there later in the race you were starting to find out, just a way to get a little bit closer to Duggar. What more did you need to make it happen?
Some more skill. No, Duggar was quick, man. He was fast. And I just didn't have the tires, I think, and just kept heating him up too much and sliding. So I think he was able to get away. And I think if I just didn't do that and had some more tire, I'd have been fine. But yeah, just made one too many mistakes.
You did make a couple mistakes there, but you definitely gave us something to talk about there, Mr. Steinhoff. It was definitely a good night for you. I find myself personally that Chicago street course is extremely difficult, and it's hard to manage being so close to those walls. And, you did make a couple mistakes, but nothing that was catastrophic. And you brought her home in 2nd place. Who do you have to thank for getting you here tonight?
I got to thank Chris Esri. I was told that I need to let you guys know his name is Esri, not Esari.
Okay, Esri. Esri, is that what you said? Okay,
yeah,
Esri. All right. Esri,
he's
got
the
it.
guy that made our setups, and it was all thanks to him. He let me know about you guys. This is my first race with this league. I'm hoping to be here for some more. But yeah, big thanks to him. And thank you to you guys for doing a broadcast, and thank you to the host for hosting. This was fun.
Awesome. We appreciate the kind words, Ryan. Congratulations on their 2nd place finish. Hopefully, we'll see you in the near future.
Yeah, take care.
And that was our 2nd place finisher of Ryan Steinhoff. Now we'll grab We'll grab our third place finisher of Roland Collette. Roland, man, third place, but we were watching there at the end of that race. You found the fastest lap, I believe, of the race. Or nope, just shy. You were fine there at the end of that race, so you're almost 3/10 faster than everybody.
Yeah, I had a really good car tonight. I felt really good in practice. Got the brakes where I wanted them. Managed to find some really good speed that I haven't had all weeks so far. Got hit the wall multiple times. Got 7 minutes of damage in that earlier in the race, and then fell back after both stages, and managed to have 3 minutes left to damage left, and managed to finish third. So that's a pretty good race there.
I would definitely say so. With that amount of damage, and you're still putting down hat laps, you were definitely getting it dialed there at the end of that race. Like you said, finding the speed here in the session. With all said and done, you came home third. Who do you have to thank for getting you here tonight?
I just want to thank Door to Door, everything that they do, and just glad to run tonight. Just appreciate everybody. Shout out to Jordan Stencil, JS Designs, for awesome paint schemes he creates and lets me run them. And then I want to thank Goat Race and Diecast for sponsoring me. Appreciate everything that they do. And yep, we just had a good night. And thank y'all for broadcasting.
We appreciate your time. Congratulations on your third place finish. Hopefully, we'll talk to you in the near future.
All right, thank you.
All right. Well, also looks like the race winner has finally showed up, and we're going to be able to talk with Alan Duggar here. Alan, what a drive from you. It didn't come easy at the end, though. Take us through just the hard charging you had to do at the end.
Yeah, I was just trying to be patient as I could. I thought I gave it away by slapping the wall there going into 4. And I had to collect myself and tell myself to just be patient and just try to put lap times together and run them down.
Was it always going to be a two-stop race for you, or did that come up when you saw the probably the two other competitors that were almost as quick as you taking a green flag stop at the end of stage 2?
Yeah, I really wasn't thinking about it. It did cross my mind once I seen they pitted, and I was like, well, I possibly gave this one away, but I just let it ride out, let it play out, and ended up benefiting out for me.
It seems like you really know these streets well. How much practice you do before you get onto this race?
Little as possible.
Well, as little as possible practice at 100% means you got a natural talent for the lefts and rights on street courses. Alan, I'll give you the floor. Who do you want to thank for this race tonight?
I thank Nerve Gaming, Door to Door, putting this thing on for us to let us come and play. Y'all broadcasting, y'all do an awesome job. I'd like to thank Ken Byron and the Ryco guys for making awesome setups, keeping us fast week in and week out, and I think that's everyone.
Awesome. Well, much thanks. And once again, congratulations, Alan Duggar, race winner at Chicago.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, that is just about it, and that's going to do it here for our broadcast of Door to Door Sim Racing's race at Chicago. Jeremy, your final thoughts before we wrap it up here.
Final thoughts here for tonight. Great to work alongside you guys here tonight, and it was great to be up here in the broadcast booth once again for Maconi Entertainment and watching this great door-to-door racing league do awesome action. And they were even better here at the streets of Chicago, one of these tracks that I find personally extremely tricky, and these guys did a great job of having awesome 42 laps of action tonight.
42 laps of intense racing, and that's what we've come to expect with door-to-door sim racing. Well, that's it from us here at Maconi Entertainment. Christian Hill up in the producer's booth. Jeremy Briggs alongside myself, Dylan Coyle. Next week, we're going to be at Sonoma Raceway, same time, same day of the week, and it's going to be just as exciting. Take care, everybody, and good night and good racing.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.